All right, guys, what's going on? Coach Will here with BigLittleGyms.com. In this video here, I'm going to talk about a question a gym owner in our program had here. I'm going to record this question for both him and for you guys who might be watching. So this gym owner here is asking, small group training, how do we do repeatable sales and how do we price it? His question here is, I am trying to generate more personal training business and have heard of a few gyms doing great with small group training. Curious if anyone has advice on how to get this started, creating that repeatable sales process, how to price it, ideally a set number of sessions per month, recurring. We have coaching talent, but haven't had any PT success to date, which says to me there is something broken with our sales process. Appreciate it. Okay, cool. So just some context here. Nick's gym is a CrossFit gym, so he largely sells right now. His core program is selling large group training, right? So classes of 15, 20, could be 30 people per class, right? So his sales process is dialed in around that. That's also how he fulfills. That's also what all his clients are used to paying for, which in his market in San Diego is probably, around a couple $100s a month. He's got a really good gym I believe his gym does at least $30,000 a month in revenue, and I think he's got a couple hundred clients. So obviously someone who's got some experience is trying to figure out how to add this revenue stream on for small group training. Now, this is something I have some experience with my gyms. We've also had several dozens and dozens of gyms go down these waters. We have some trainings in our school group here about doing small group. But I'm going to go ahead and answer this question for Nick as if I was sitting across the desk for him and talking to him. We'll also go through some of the answers that some of the other gym owners here in the program gave to Nick, because what you're looking at here on the screen is in our private group here, and all these gym owners responding. This is a gym owner here that does $50,000 a month. He's actually offering for Nick to jump on a call with him to talk about how he does it, because Nick Penizzotto here actually runs a gym that largely sells higher ticket group coaching and personal training. He sells a lot of high ticket personal training. Chase here, I watched his video, was a little bit of feedback on how he sells his group training in his gym. He's also, all of our gyms here are largely gyms that sell large group training, but some of them also sell personal training and small group as well. So they're just offering their insights. Drew here says, hey, we launched our semi-privates last year. We launched them as an invite only. It was something many people asked for, which was a weightlifting only program. So his was more dialed in towards Olympic weightlifting methodology. This program was a beta and was cheaper than what we offer now. We meet 3 times a week, and it has a different start and stop. From that, we created a large buzz in the gym and launched our semi-privates in January. We saw everyone inside our intro session, and that session is where we ask people what level of service they want. Ours is 3 times a week, and the pricing splits the model of the group classes and personal training, and we are quite fortunate to have space in our gym. If we didn't, I'd put semi-privates at times. We didn't offer group classes. Hopes this helps. Yeah, so really, really good insights here. So some good feedback there from the gym owners in the program. Now, what I'll talk about here is the model that we ran in our gym, and what I think is probably one of the better ways to approach this. In what Drew there, it's very in alignment with what Drew shared as well. And the first thing I would say is, when you're going to sell small group training, what you can't do, I'm going to tell you what to avoid first, is you can't just blanket offer it to your existing members. If you just say, hey guys, good news, we're rolling out small group training, you've been asking for it, here you go, here's a landing page to go sign up, go do it. You already know what's probably going to happen. It's going to be crickets, right? People aren't just going to go and opt to give you hundreds more dollars per month for small group training, because the price point is prohibitive to being a just quick impulsive decision, right? This really needs to be a consultative sales process, right? So you need a reason for people to come sit down with you and talk, right? And you could do this a couple different ways. I'll give you a couple different ways that you could do it, and I've seen it done, and I'll give you how we did it that is really, really effective. One of the ways is, you could do the invite-only model that, Drew here is saying. Basically say, reach out to people that have inquired about this and say, hey, we're running a small group. It's a beta. It's a beta, and I would use that word because beta says to people hey, we're still building this. We're figuring it out. It's not perfect. Good news is you're invited to get in early on it. What that does is that creates exclusivity, which people see value in getting. It gives them an increase in status in your community, which people, when you give someone an increase in status in your community, they are more likely to take advantage of that, right? To keep that status, right? Like, hey, we're opening this up. You're one of the people that's invited. We're only doing like 6 spots. I'm going to invite you first. And then, if my initial invites, if some of you guys don't take it, I'm going to offer it to the next group of people, right? And a lot of people, when they know that they've been slotted in and for that exclusivity and that scarcity, they're likely to take it, especially if they're people that you've hand chosen that are a good fit for the program and that have been asking for it. So I'd highly recommend doing that if it's with existing members, right? Because it's really hard to tell existing members to come sit down with you to sell them something, right? So like you can't just say like, hey guys, who wants to buy my thing? Book a time to spend an extra hour talking to me so I can sell you this thing. That's not really how you want to do it. What you want to do is you want to reach out and invite them and say, okay, great, you're interested? Okay, cool. Go ahead and, and before you divulge information, before you sit down, before you tell them what it costs, don't send this in a text. Send them your scheduler and say, hey, go ahead and book a time. I've only got a few slots. I want to sit down and tell you about it before we commit to anything. And I'll also, while we're there, I'll tell you about what it costs and how it's going to run and all that good stuff. Go ahead and pick a time, right? So you want to do this so you can get them sat down and do a proper consultative selling process and break this down for them and have a discussion about what their goals are, and the framework for doing that sales process are pretty much the same as our no sweat intro process, which is like, what is your current situation? Revisiting that. What is your desired situation? What are you hoping to get out of this? What are you currently doing about it? And then using that as the lever and jumping off point to talk about how the small group training is going to accelerate that goal and fix that pain point of like what they're currently doing about it, right? And that's where you bundle these things in, right? So that's how you do it like on the fly with like an existing member. Now, as far as selling small group in from new, that's really the best way to do it, right? So when you're bringing someone in your gym, you really already should be doing a consultative selling process, whether you're a large group gym or a small group gym, right? If you're trying to sell something for a couple $100s a month, you can easily do it with a consultative selling process, which means sitting down with the person for 30 minutes to 45 minutes and having a conversation with them about current situation, desired situation, what they're currently doing about it, and then showing them the collective value of the services of your group training program, breaking it down for them. And at the end, showing them the value of that. And for the most part, you're going to close 9 out of 10 of people you talk to at a solid price. This is what Orange Theories do. This is what F45s do. This is what all the bigger franchise gyms do that are selling, anything over $150 or $200 a month. It's the same with if you run a CrossFit gym, you should be running this same process. Can you just run, hey, come in and do a class and then sign up for membership afterwards? Sure. But it's going to take away the opportunity for you to sell something like this. You need to do a proper consultative selling process. So a proper consultative selling process, that's the best time to offer small group training. And I'll tell you how we did it. So what we did actually is when people started at our gym, now we ran a CrossFit gym. So this is probably a little bit more applicable to a CrossFit gym. And that like we did an onboarding. So when they were signing up for our gym, they did an onboarding, which pretty much was a small group program. Our onboarding was it was 2 weeks, 3 classes per week. And those classes were small group classes. And our goal every 2 weeks was to fill that small group program up with people for onboarding, right? And initially it started with a week, but we went to 2 weeks because the reason why we went to 2 weeks is we wanted in that onboarding to provide more value and show them the value of small group trainings. And then at the end of that 6 weeks, or at the end of that 2 weeks, at the end of the 6th class, our coach who ran the small group onboardings would resell them onto small group. And we would actually have about 30% of our clients stay in the small group because they would start in that small group. And then at the end of it, they were like, I really like doing this. I do want to do, they'd say, I want to do bigger group classes. But then a lot of them really enjoyed the small group because of the personal touch. And that's actually how our coach who ran that program made his paycheck, his salary. And he made very good money. He made $70,000, $80,000 a year, if not more sometimes, just reselling people into a small group. And we liked it because it was much more scalable than doing personal training, right? Personal training, it's like it's a one-to-one, right? So that you can't scale up the amount of people that person can serve in an hour. With small group, our coach was running up 3 to 6 people per hour, and he had multiple of those running per day, and we were getting, $200 to $400 a month, depending on what small group, the number of small group training sessions they were doing per week. So we would sell it as either 2 or 3, right? I think we did 1, 2, or 3, right? And if for like 1 a week to do small group in addition to their regular membership, I believe we charged, and thinking back about it, and also just basing it, this is pretty in alignment with what I see from most people. I think we were between somewhere around like a couple $100s per month. So like they're paying, say they did, 4 per month, 1 per week, they're essentially paying $50 per small group training session. And then if they did 2, I believe there was a much better value if they did 2 or 3 per week. If they did 2 per week, it'd go from like 200 to like 275, right? It was a much better. We almost didn't want people doing the 1 per week, because we also noticed they did 1 per week because the value wasn't there, and it didn't really hit economy of scale for us, that like they would usually churn out of it. And I want to say at one point we even got rid of doing the 1 per week, and we only offered the 2 or 3. And I think the 2 or 3 was basically like $250 and like $350, basically. I want to say $250, like $275 and $350 or something like that. So you're somewhere in that neighborhood of $2 to $400 between a 2 and a 3 time per week offer, right? So we found it was much easier to bake it into our on-ramping process. So because we were on-ramping people anyways into a small group, we just built the small group around crushing it in small group, and then a third of our people that came in would want to do small group. And we did this when our gym hit like 300 plus members, and we were in our group classes were starting to get really, really packed. We're like, how do we sell more people for more money in our gym and make use of space in our gym that's not getting high utilization? Because we had 3 different rooms in our gym, and they were off hours or even peak hours where some of our rooms and some of our space wasn't getting utilization. So doing small group in some of those oddball spaces, or even taking them outside in the alley in the back and pulling out the squat racks and pulling out the barbells and pulling out the plates and doing that stuff in the alley and getting creative with our space allowed us to monetize and continue to monetize and generate revenue even when we were already really, 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 really full. So that's one way you could do it, is build it into your process, because continuation is way easier to sell than upselling someone, right? So like and our on-ramp was already like $300 to $400 to start at our gym. So it's like they already just validated that they could spend this money. Now, as long as we over deliver in the next 2 weeks during the small group on-ramping, they're going to probably just want to keep doing that, right? They're going to want to keep doing a third of them anyways, and the rest will go into group classes. And we also, like, because it was such a good well-run program, and how we invested in those coaches and making sure that they were providing value, they became really good group members. And what was also is because they were pitched the small group, sometimes when we would open small group back up or go invite only, or we would make an announcement that we have some slots in our small group program, those people would come and fill those slots because they're like, yeah, I wasn't ready for it then, but I am ready for it now. That's a great way to do it. And then just going back here, let's see if there's anything else here. Derek Carolano, this is a gym owner here. He's sharing that he primarily does small groups of 6 to 8 people. He says, we offer a few different programs at different times during the day, 3 prices based on commitment frequency. We do not do sessions, because if you miss, you miss. So we have them commit to 2 times a week at $200, 3 times a week at $250, 4 times a week at $300 a week. And if they are expected to meet those days. So they're signing up and committing almost like they're doing personal training, but it's small group. They can change their frequency when they want to, though, and it's a great middle ground, and we really found it to be great demand for it. Yeah, this is fantastic. And Derek's gym he's a gym owner that's grown. I think he's doing somewhere in the 25 to 30K per month range and making good profits off of that. And it's very scalable, and it also allows him to pay his coaches better. That's what I liked about small group, is we used to pay on the pay plan side of how to structure pay plan for coaches. Small group allows you to pay like per client per session, right? And it's more scalable, right? So versus like personal training where you're sharing sometimes, I've heard some people say like 4/9 or 50% or up to 70% of your revenue you're sharing with the personal trainer to do personal training. So it's like you're selling something for $100 and you're making $30 on it, and it's got low scalability. So it's really like an inverted business model to sell personal training that way. When the better, with group training, what's great about it is it kind of inverts it back the right way, where it's like, well, I can pay that coach $20 per hour per session. So if he has 5 people in the class, he's now making $100 per hour. He's coaching a group, so it's more scalable. He can serve more people at the same time. And honestly, the classes often are more fun, right? A small group class is more fun for the coach. He can coach 5 people through the squat at once, and like there's people that move better in the class, there's people that move worse in the class, and the person that moves better in that small class can be someone that demonstrates better movement pattern. You can use them as an example. And also there's people in the class setting a pace, setting a tone, setting an energy in the small group that helps pick the energy up levels up of someone that maybe like doesn't naturally bring, maybe they're introverted, doesn't bring a lot of energy to the group. So that's another reason why I like small group. Small group to me is like probably one of the best ways to upsell or cross sell or do continuation with clients at a higher ticket price. So let me know what questions you guys have. If you run small group, let me know how you sell your small group, how you fulfill on your small group, how you pay your coaches, how it generates revenue for you and your gym. If you're an active client at Big Little Gyms, you're awesome, you're amazing. You're obviously probably already crushing it because you work with us. If you're not an active client at Big Little Gyms and you're watching this video, go to biglittlegyms.com and go click the Getting Started button there. Up will pop a form. You fill out that form and book a discovery call with us, and we'll meet and tell you about how you can add 10, 20, 30 members per month to your gym organically without having to run paid ads or discount anything, and build a better business and serve your clients longer. Have a great day. Bye.